You're not going to have an intro today?
Welcome to Fox, MSNBC.
No, we're not Fox. We are not.
NBC.
No.
MSNBC FOX. Welcome to MSNBC FOX. We are here.
No, welcome to Conversations with Mark and Yolanda.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to MSNBC FOX, live, brought to you from Las Vegas, Nevada. We don't judge. We don't discriminate. We love everybody. This is just in, ladies and gentlemen. This just in. You are not going to believe this. Today is July 17th, 2020. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? And here we are, live. The beauty and the beat. What?
Today we would have started Orange County Fair.
Oh, my God. You're killing me. Why did I go do that? No, man, we were...
So we can say hi to all of our Orange County fans.
Oh, my God.
We missed San Diego, and now we're missing Orange County.
But you don't have to miss us if you want. Look at our videos we post just for you to see. High five.
Are you done singing?
I want to sing another song.
You want to sing another
Ladies and
song?
gentlemen, this is Yolanda Martinez Music. Also, your co-host, Mark Music. Live from you, MSNBC FOX, where we bring to you some of the highlights of the world. And now, welcome to the stage, one of the best businessmen, the connector of the world. The man has brought everybody together. You cannot be without him if you want to be successful. Welcome to the stage, Mr. Richard Kaye. How's that? Is that good?
That was awesome. I don't know if he needs a bigger intro than that. Jesus.
Oh, are you ready, Richard?
All right.
Oh, you had coffee today. That's
I had coffee
that
today.
is why you're so wired.
Can't have coffee today.
I was
Richard.
like, what are you on? Now I
Richard.
know you're on coffee.
Wow.
So
You talk about the San Diego. You talk about San Diego Fair. I used to live walking. I used to walk to it. I lived in Solana Beach, just next to I lived on the ocean. So.
Oh, God, we've been there since 1992.
we
Every
stayed
year.
in Solana Beach last year.
Did you ever come and see the hypnotist there, Richard?
No.
Now's a great time to lie.
Was that guy Mark somebody?
Yes. Oh my God. He is blew me away.
Yeah.
Blew you away.
Yeah. I want to make sure that you guys have enough energy and enough animation to do this program today.
He'll have enough for the both of us. Do not worry about that. Him on coffee is like 10 people at a Tony Robbins event.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
there you go.
Think of this. Tony Robbins doing that now, and we still have 7 people on. This is huge. I don't think we've ever had this many on.
Did you see what Tony's doing these days?
Oh, yeah.
32,000 people
22.
online. Yeah.
I know. That's crazy.
I did 22 online, and I think I'm successful.
I was looking at the picture of him standing in the middle of the 2 wraparound screens. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
That was a pretty penny he paid for that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That was not cheap. And you know what? He made it back within one deal.
He made it 32,000 people. You know,
I think it's 22,000.
Oh, 22. My not reading. Hey, so
Yeah.
you're wearing your Firewalk shirt.
I didn't even realize that when I woke up.
That's so interesting.
And you, I think you brought it up to me. You said, "When did you go to Tony Robbins?" I go, had to be like 2003 or 4, and yeah, it was a while ago.
I went.
You went.
What, like 5 years ago?
Oh, girlfriend, you went about 10 years ago.
Was it 10 years
Yes.
ago? No, it would have been that long.
Yes, it has.
It seems like it's
because we went to
earlier.
Date with Destiny.
Yeah, we
After
did.
that.
We did go. Yeah,
That was before Lloyd had his issues. Wow, we're getting old, Richard. Look at
talk
this.
about being a zombie at an event.
This just grew in a couple days ago.
Go to a
Yeah,
21
mine did too.
event. You'll be a zombie.
Now, I met you back in 2013 in Palm Springs, but I didn't get to know you. I knew, here and there saying hi and all that, but we really got to know you a little bit more on the cruise, the marketers cruise, where you have 400 marketers all getting together, brainstorming, making things happen, and just getting your life and business to the next level. If I'd known about that earlier, I heard about it, didn't know what it was, I would have been there a lot sooner. Now, are you going on the next one?
I'm not certain. Not certain.
We aren't either because they keep moving it.
They keep moving the
Well,
date.
it's now July, and
Yeah.
next July.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't know. It's gonna be a challenge marketing that thing. But Mark and Yolanda, for me, the most fun part of that cruise was the last night when we had dinner in
Yeah.
an Italian restaurant. Yeah, it was a fun, and when we finally really connected.
Yes.
And, that was the highlight, that dinner.
Oh,
Getting off it was the next day.
We appreciate it so much. You know how you know somebody, then you get to really appreciate them. That's what it was for us. We go back to the room and go, we really like Richard. I mean, we liked him before, but now we really like him. When you get to see who people really are, their heart, their core, their soul, who they really are. And you've always been the same person to us. Even though we knew you, we didn't connect at a deeper level with you until that. And that's when it's like, there's no way you would ever hurt anybody, steer them wrong, give them bad advice, ever do anything other than serve somebody. I thought, man, you don't even look like he looks like a monk, don't he? He's like a monk right now. Yeah, we got Monk Richard here.
Monk Richard. Well, part of that, and thank you, and I received that graciously from you guys. But part of it is, in my experience, so many people play roles in life. And, you play roles as husband and wife, as entertainers. Where I've come to be is living more as a soul and looking at people as souls instead of the role. And it changes. And I know, for example, my son, oh, God bless him, he's now 38. Instead of holding him as my son, I see the soul. And it's easier to have a relationship like that. It's more rewarding. And quite frankly, that's what I do in business. It's been a process to get there.
Oh,
and you get out of the soul, out of the role. It's like, oh shit, this is a lot easier.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's a good way to describe it. You're like a soulmate. You're like a soul searcher. You find the heart of everybody, but deeper than that. It's so much deeper than that. And you have to get to a place of, the best way I can describe you when you say, well, think of Richard Kaye, what do you think of? Peaceful. A man of peace.
Thank you.
A man that just radiates peacefulness. When you're around him, he's fun, he's exciting, he's calm, he's there. He's everything you could ever want in a man and a woman. So if you put on a wig, I'd still love you.
Well, can I say the same thing? Yolanda, not to you, but to you having a beard? Yolanda, if you have a beard, we have a different conversation.
You should have seen before she went into the woman thing. She was a beautiful. So this brings us to, we asked you to be on here on Friday, and you said, I absolutely would love to. Yes. Thank you for taking your time. I know that you've got a lot of things going on. You're very heavily involved in a company that is transformational to every single multi-millionaire, billionaire business person out there knows of CEO Space. CEO Space is almost like an invitation to people to get to the next level. And I've had the opportunity and the privilege of going down there and seeing how it works. And some of the people I hang around with, like at Secret Knock and all that, everybody knows about CEO Space, know about Bernie, know about you and all that. Can you give us an idea, so people that are listening go, what is a CEO Space? Is that like where a turtle convention where, animals come? What is going on there? CEO, what does that stand for? What is it? So tell us a little bit about you and how you can serve the listeners.
It's a great question. And I'll tell you a little bit of my journey. I was a fairly famous chiropractor in San Diego, and we're talking about Tony Robbins. As he says, it's not to impress you, but to impress upon you where I was. 6:30 News, morning television talk show for about a year, multiple stories with color pictures, San Diego Tribune, Los Angeles Times. I heard about this organization and I said, I don't need this. I was famous. See, I was a legend in my own mind.
Yeah. And in 3 other people's minds too.
And I didn't realize I was a CEO of my own life. And that's where people say, oh yeah. Well, I will tell you that over 9 months following my first CEO Space program, my practice doubled. I said, oh, there's got to be something here. Yeah.
And I'll tell you, that does not surprise me. At all. Zero. And that's what I want people to get. They are investing in themselves because the people at CEO Space invest in them. Yes. But you have to be a contribution and contributor to belong to there, meaning not monetarily, other than what can you serve and how can you serve everybody? That's what blows my mind about it.
And thank you for speaking so coherently to the culture. It's not about how much can I get? It's how much can you serve other people? And now imagine being in an environment where everyone is doing that.
Yes.
And I teach, among other things, telling people how to go to networking events and don't go to get, go to serve. And when you do that,
thank God,
it comes back in ways that you cannot even imagine. And, you know, we talked, and you met Bernie, you know Bernie.
Yes.
Bernie Dorman is the founder of CEO Space. And 1 week ago, he passed. And I want to say right up front, ladies and gentlemen, this COVID shit is real. He died from COVID. And if someone said to me, I thought this was a Democrat conspiracy to piss off Trump. This stuff is real. And if you don't value your health, wear a mask and value the lives of others. So he passed. And the common question is, well, what are we doing next? Well, Monday we had a plenary, which is a fancy way of saying planning meeting, with his wife, September, who was the president. Bernie retired from it 5 years ago. And September is the president, Ellen's the vice president, and we are doing program after program after program, virtually, of course. And people are still having the opportunity. We only do one thing, and that's accelerate the growth of businesses. We don't sell anything. There's no sales. And
you don't let everybody into this company. If they're a bad egg, they are kicked out. And it doesn't matter who you are. Do people think like, well, you want your – no. Without mentioning names, I know people that have been kicked out and not invited back. It is like, seriously? It was like, yeah, I know them. I know who they are.
Yeah, because you and I have had that conversation. And some of them have been faculty members, because faculty's agreement is you show up to serve. You don't show up to sell to build your business. And yeah, one of the faculty members was fired on the spot. And, you know, it's like we protect our members. And you talked about collaboration and cooperation. That's a model that Bernie has inculcated to the people, excuse me, who are members of CEO Space. Cooperate, give more than you expect. And the universe provides in beautiful ways when you show up in that model. It changes. And it's not just business. It's the way you live your life. You know, if one of you guys said, hey, I want more out of this relationship. Now, what if you gave more? What if you gave more?
Yeah.
And it changes. You know, talking about that, you guys mentioned that you've been to Date with Destiny, which is phenomenal, Tony's program. And what is it about? It's about giving more to your partner than you will ever get back. And then you get back. You get back.
Yeah, we were watching last night. We had hired Danny Trejo. And if you don't know his name, because they're like, who's Danny Trejo? You look him up, you'll know exactly who he is. The guy that went to prison, done Desperado. I mean, he did all that. And at 12 years old, he was doing heroin and stealing and robbing and all that. Went to prison for 10 years, every prison you can imagine. But he was known as the toughest guy. You don't mess with him, you know. Came out and started doing some movies. Now he's a famous actor. We had him at one of our private events with about 15 people. And I will tell you about this man. The moment you walk up, he comes up to you, hi, I'm Danny Trejo. Like he does, like you're the celebrity to everybody. And we started watching his special. I'm trying to get him on. Yolanda said, why don't we get Danny on? And I said, okay. And I saw the TV special last night, the documentary, which I recommend everybody do. It goes, 100% of my growth comes from contribution. The moment I start giving to people, I start getting back, and I'm not expecting it. It just comes that way.
Wow.
And we had hired him to come out and speak. He got his check. And the next day, we always do a day of where we can give back. And we went to a shelter where we make food for people. The guy showed up there and was in the kitchen helping us for hours, not being paid for it, just because he said, your group is something special, and I want to be part of it. Not like I want to be, hey, I'm coming here because I'm Danny. The guy put on a hat, man. He was a worker. And he was just there to serve. And his whole life, watch the special. This man has had some serious issues, and he's, you know, he has a sponsor, you know, that, you know, to this day, he's dry, he's clean, and he's one that helps everybody out. He's the perfect example of what people have gone through and what they can become because of it, as well as what CEO Space stands for.
Well, that's a great story. That is a soulful story. And we don't know someone's path, their lives. And I suspect you guys are the same way. When someone comes into your space who sucks the energy out, it's like, get away from me. And I'll give you an example. I play a lot on LinkedIn, and they're autoresponders. And I reached out to someone, and the first email, I'm paraphrasing, but was buy my business, buy my stuff. In other words, sign up for my MLM. It's like, have you ever thought of building a relationship first?
Yeah.
And I sent that to those two people and to others. And of course, you never hear from them because they come from the place of scarcity.
Yeah.
And when you come from a place of abundance, you give in its CEO Space. I mean, some of our faculty members, one of our most famous stories is Lisa Nichols. When Lisa came, she had no money. She was not in scarcity, but she just had no money. And it's a call from my corporate office. I'm not even going to.
Oh, because it kind of muted out. So we'll wait till that call goes away.
Okay, we just declined it. So
I know Lisa Nichols.
Yeah.
How do I know her?
Well, I'll tell you how you know her. When she came to CEO Space, my understanding is she was working a minimum wage job in South Central LA. And that area makes your shirt mark look white. I mean, it's a nasty area. And her soul said, I need to be here. A couple of years pass. She put a team together, put a business plan together. She got in The Secret because of connections through CEO Space. She got on Oprah because of CEO Space. She got a $1 million advance on her book, No Matter What, because of CEO Space. And I've got like a 2-minute video where she's in tears saying that she hasn't come back anymore. She is now a multimillionaire. You can look it up on Facebook. And most highly requested motivational speaker on the planet. Now, Lisa is a very unique story. Not everyone gets that.
Sure.
However, we launched things like Chicken Soup for the Soul. There's a wonderful story about a young lady who was mixing up an elixir in her bathtub and giving them out in NyQuil type cups to her friends. And I'm going to, again, jump ahead a couple of years. She sold her business for $500 million. Wow. That's airborne. You know that.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So people come in for one goal, to learn structure, capital, team. Well, one goal, and I'm naming a bunch. Structure, capital, team building, putting joint ventures together.
Yeah.
And in today's culture, one of the most important things is joint venturing. You cannot do it by yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, or you have heard that if you do what you've always done, you're going to get what you've always gotten. Not anymore. You do what you've always done, and that leads to failure. You have to change what Zig Ziglar used to call stinking thinking. You've got to come up with new ideas, new ways to do things. And that, our whole culture is pivoting. And one of our faculty members, Adam Markell, actually wrote the book called Pivot.
Yeah, the pivot,
yeah. That was before it was a popular word.
I know that very well.
Yeah. He's a very dear friend and a core legacy core faculty member, also Southern California guy from New York.
Yes.
So as you pivot into new models, you can expand your business. Now, we at CEO Space, we're doing that. We, like everybody else, used to do physical events. And
and I come back to that someday as well, once it's safe.
Once it's safe. We're not putting anyone at risk by putting them in a room. Could be lethal. So, we have pivoted. We've done these mass things. And everyone in this space, I don't care who you name, you guys, you pivoted, you're doing this. That's part of the pivot in the new culture to accelerate instead of decelerate and crash your business.
Yeah, the key to CEO Space is finding the right relationships
Yes.
for what you need. And when literally, I remember the story, and I was in Lake Las Vegas, and someone said, I needed to get a hold of the president. So I called so-and-so and somebody else, and I got him. And I was like, Frick. And that was my first time. I'm thinking, this is the real deal here. And then we met, Corbin there, I was like, oh my God.
Corbin's another dear friend we met at CEO Space. You see, what we are is about making connections. And I'm hosted, because when we do these things, we do meal tables. And each meal is hosted by a subject matter expert. And Bernie brings David Corbin over and says, you need to meet Richard. And so we get around today to Corbin. I said, and he's telling me what he's doing. I said, I need to connect you with a friend of mine from San Diego. And he said, oh, she's my business partner. I said, David, I need to connect you, different conversation, with so-and-so. He said, oh, he's my other business partner. the connection grid is phenomenal. And David sent me a text the other day, which was profound. And we'll go back to Bernie because this is relevant here in a moment. He said, Bernie created our friendship. I wrote back, I said, no, David, Bernie created the environment. You and I created the friendship. Yeah. And that's what we're about. It's who do you have to be to sit down with Bob Proctor and have a meal, or Les Brown, or you name it, or Sharon Lecter, the people who are the top of the top of the top. And when you're sitting and dining, there's no hierarchy.
Even Tony's been there.
I say again?
Tony's been there.
Tony has been. I invited Tony, and the conversation was
not Tony. Hey, Tony. It's Tony Robbins.
Yeah,
the real
Tony.
The real Tony, right? He's busy this weekend, because otherwise I'd ask him to be on here for tomorrow, but he's busy, so I let him do it.
The conversation I had with Tony is, Tony, everything you've got's personal. You don't have any business growth. And it was like, now, trust me, it was a lot longer conversation. And part of what happened after Tony's experience at CEO Space and other things, of course, is he had Wealth Mastery, which is his most profound business program and all the derivatives of that.
Yeah.
And Bernie and his wife, September, I had the connection that they went to Date with Destiny 2 years ago. So that was pretty cool.
Wow, that's awesome.
We've talked about Tony. We're having a,
do you remember on this cruise ship when it was Bernie's birthday, right?
September's
birthday, and Tony called and left a message.
Yes.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
So when people go, oh, he probably got paid. Tony Robbins was a friend and respected Bernie in September, and everybody that would CEO Space stood for. And that's a huge, just, you talk about an element of gratitude, and this is the real deal. When you get people like that caliber that says, I want to be part of this, not because of any money, because it serves people. It's like, how do you not want to be part of CEO Space? And here's the thing, you're not going to try to sell anybody, because it's like, is it for you? Great. If it's not a problem. And here's what else Bernie said. I just got off the phone with it was Rook, Daniel Rook.
Oh,
and Daniel, you know that? Okay. And
he's
Daniel,
very dear friend.
Yes. Okay. He just did a whole thing, and we spent an hour talking about Bernie. And he said, one thing about Bernie is he sat down and he says, Daniel, you will outgrow me one day. He said, no, I won't. He goes, bless you. Yes, you will. And I'm okay with that. I want you to. Bernie wants you to be there to outgrow him.
Absolutely.
And it's like, who has that intention other than somebody who wants to do nothing but serve? And, I thought that was pretty cool. And look at the people that, since then that have been involved. You could sit there and name drop for an hour, but there's no reason to. Because it's not, you're here to serve people, and that's why we asked you to be on here, is how do we get to the next level? How do we help our listeners that are stuck, especially during the illusion that COVID, business-wise, will slow you down when it could launch you? Not that it hasn't. Richard, we lost 3 companies in COVID. Yolanda and I. What did it do? It got us to be more creative and create more companies.
Exactly.
That's right.
Yeah.
We have more time? Great. Bigger audience? Perfect. We get to do this now? We wouldn't be doing this today. We'd be at the fair doing a show right now. We get to do all the things we want to do, build our list up, create new relationships. It's like, wow, this is awesome. And that's what I want people to realize. You have an opportunity and a solution for people that feel like they're stuck, that they're all alone. You will never be alone with CEO Space.
It's interesting you mentioned Rook. He and I have been on the phone several times, and we didn't even speak. I don't think we did, but it was last Thursday that Bernie died. He left, and I know I said it was COVID. The Saturday before, he and I were talking, and he said he felt like he had a corset around his chest. And then on Monday, he posted a picture saying, geez, he's feeling better.
Yes.
So I called him, and he said, I can't talk. I mean, I didn't have energy to take a deep enough breath. So we were texting, and we were texting right up until a few hours before he left his body. And he was in service, just constantly. And that's what it is. And that's the culture of CEO Space. And as you know, if you know anybody in this vertical, meaning the entrepreneurial growth and development and business, they've been to CEO Space. Many of them are on faculty, names that people know. And I mentioned Bob Proctor, Les Brown, Jack Canfield. These are the people who come to be in service. And a little bit later on, I want to give your viewers some pretty powerful gifts. I'll call them gifts.
That's cool.
Awesome.
Well, that's very nice. Thank you.
Yeah, and it's our whole culture. It's a powerful model of transformation. I'm laughing because one day, you talk about the connection grid. Bernie and another young man who's a hedge fund manager is sitting, and Bernie says, wait a minute, I need to connect you with someone. He picks up his phone, and I mean, he's got everybody on auto dial. Everybody.
Yes, he does.
He says, hey, Raul, here's some guy I want you to talk. Here's what I want you to do for him. And he says, okay, here's Raul Campus. Bring the phone back when the battery's dead. Now, great, who's Raul Campus? He used to run the Securities Exchange Commission. He was the executive commissioner of the SEC. And this is a hedge fund manager putting together some big deal. I mean, how do you get those kinds of connections?
Yeah.
So our connection grid, we're not 6 degrees of separation. It's 1 degree.
Yeah, exactly.
And we use a process called SNAP, Super Networking Accelerates Potential. And what's that about? Many people look at this as an elevator speech. We take you down to 20 or 30 seconds. Where's the coherency in what you're doing? We can all talk for hours about what we do, and everyone gets bored.
Right.
Can you give a coherent message to get someone's attention? And I was teaching something the other day, and I said, in the days when you could fly, I was on an airplane reading a novel, because that's what I do when I just don't want to do anything. And a woman taps me on the shoulder, cute looking lady. She says, can I ask you a question? What do you do? I said, we build businesses. I went back to my novel. A couple of minutes later, how do you do that? I said, well, we have conferences. This is when, those days. And, people come and network and learn a lot of stuff, and then go back to my novel. A couple of minutes later, she's back. She says, I got a question for you. I'm an entrepreneur. Can we talk? And I use this as an example of piquing someone's interest. Mm-hmm. If I had vomited, what do you do? Oh, we've been around 32 years. Forbes, London Financial Times says we're the #1 business conference. We've helped people raise over $3 billion. She probably would have borrowed my novel. So the SNAP, and this is not just at CEO Space, ladies and gentlemen, this is for your life. Mm-hmm. Get people to be interested. There's an old saying that you're better to be interested than interesting.
Right.
So if you tease people, but very lovingly, remember the conversation about being a soul, tease them and find out what it is that you can provide for them. And this young lady is very delightful. Can we talk? So how many of us, when we go to networking, live or virtual, We vomit everything.
Oh yeah.
Because we think what's interesting to us that people want to hear us. And it's like, I don't care about you. What's in it for them?
It's that radio station, WIIFM. Right? What's in it for me?
Yeah.
So you play, but when I say play in a delight, it's like I said, I play on LinkedIn. How many of us take life too seriously? It's an old statement. You'll never get out of it alive. So, and by the way, going back just for a nanosecond here to Tony, I've arranged for Tony to be one of the people speaking. We're having a memorial service for Bernie on Saturday next.
Oh my gosh.
And Tony's going to be saying a few words.
Awesome.
It's a powerful time of life. And I love what I heard you say, that you may have lost 3 businesses, but you're restructuring and doing something differently. And that's the key.
We just met. I don't know if you know Adam Sternberg. He does photography. And one of my businesses, one of my companies was a sound company. We have quite a bit of sound. And what's interesting now, Richard, is everything we have, it's all paid for. There's no overhead. I have 2 acres. My company's on my property and all that. And I've noticed other sound companies going out of business today. What does that mean? Now we're going to everywhere, because we go all nationwide. We're going to local places here in Las Vegas, which there's a few hotels here. And we're offering our service, joint venturing with the video guy, at a discount. So when people want to use the service, it's cheaper. It's there. And now we're taking a company that we supposedly were losing, which we haven't made any profit on at all this year. And it could possibly double because we're offering a better service. And we're going to finance them. If they want to finance some of the sound, we'll let them do that. We don't care. We want to serve them. And we created this big, long list. A friend of mine helped me create a list of over 100 hotels that we need to go talk to.
Wow.
It's going to take all day to do that.
I love the attitude that you do these things. We've all had drama. We've all had trauma in our lives. We've all had shitty days, shitty years sometimes. And we can live through our pain or from our pain. Oh. Living from our pain is the victim. Oh, poor me.
Yep.
Living through our pain, you use it as fuel to drive you forward to next. And that's what I'm hearing you guys. I mean, you could have been, morose. Shit, we lost 3 businesses. But instead, I look at your smiles. You're using that as fuel to create something new. And that's what everybody has to do.
Well, here's what happens, though, and we are human. Don't think because I'm here now that I didn't go through the, oh my God, what's going to happen? Oh my God. Yeah. We had that as human beings. I didn't live there. As Tony said, you don't live in that space. What it did was it made me go into survival, and your heart goes, you got what it takes. Yes. It's not COVID. It's your attitude and your intention. And what are you paying attention to? And it was after a couple of days of this, what am I going to do? Things got clear. So everybody goes through it. Tony Robbins goes through it. Everybody goes through it. Every human goes through it. You don't live there. You find the solution of how you get out of that, So I won't know what people think is, oh, it happened. Oh, good. It's not like that. We're all human beings.
Right.
And we have to learn and struggle. And we have to take our own advice sometimes. And, with Yolanda, she's like, you'll figure it out.
Well, with everything that's going on too, with the news and what's being reported and what we're being told, it's up and down for people with their emotions that, sometimes they'll stay stuck. And, I tell people it's not just happening to you.
Right.
It's happening to the world. So when you stop focusing on just you, you're going to realize that you can do other things to stay connected with those people that you want to stay connected with. But it'll also help you to think of things to do differently. It'll help you grow, both in business and work or personal. But you have to not live in that moment of, oh my God, what am I going to do now? They're reporting this. And, oh, they're reporting this now. So it's important to be able to, us to be here and saying, look, we're going through it too, but we're going through it all together. And either we're going to do something to come out in the end at the top, or we're going to stay at the bottom and dwell on what we could have done and, oh, look at what happened to us.
And that's the choice. The choice is, and people, I don't have that choice. Yes, you do. You have a choice to call Richard, to get in CEO space. You have a choice to get involved. You have that choice. And if you let other people influence you and tell you what they can't do and you buy into their limiting beliefs, guess what? You gave up your choice. You made a choice that was a wrong choice.
Or you let somebody else make the choice for you.
Or you let your circumstances determine your attitude.
Yes.
Wow.
And yes, as a human being, an emotion physiologically, biochemically lasts anywhere from seconds to maybe 2 minutes. After that is the concept of it. And my mother, she's passed 20 years or so. She hated her cousin. I said, Mom, why'd you hate your cousin? She says, I don't know, but she did something. I said, Mom, that's 20 years ago. She didn't, but we carry the concept of it.
She forgot why she hated her. I remember.
She's dead now, so I can say the physiology doesn't exist anymore. It's now a story. And how many of us get so immersed in the story that we forget what's real? So we live, and talking about growing, and I mentioned it, and Yolanda, you had a big smile, that your circumstance should not predicate where you live. Exactly. When you live in that higher vibration, when you live and looking at the potential, if we dwell on the past, man, it sucks. Whatever it is. If we look and use that to fuel us and move forward into our greatness, into our richness. And one of the things, for example, is how are people acquiring new clients, new customers, meeting new prospects? This is a wonderful way that you guys have created for so many. I've seen some of your shows.
Have you really?
Yeah.
You're one of the 6?
No, I was the first. It's a wonderful vehicle. And today, how about customer or client retention? How many times, I teach a program, I've taught at CEO Space, taught it at Peaks actually. That's where we met, on negotiation and communication. And the dictionary may define client and customer as the same, but I make a distinction. You go into, don't ever do this, but you go into a fast food place, and you buy something, you're a customer. You go get gas, you're a customer. There's no expectation of any further business.
Yep.
Where I make the distinction as a client is how do you serve someone after the deal, after you complete. And as an example, we're in an age of email and text, and how many people still write thank you cards? Write thank you cards. It's that personal touch. And I assert that if you guys get mail and it's all, computer generated or typed envelopes, if there's a handwritten thing, that gets opened first.
Yes.
And imagine it says, thank you.
I open it last, and you know why? I throw away the first so I can savor the last memory of what I appreciate.
Well, there you go.
I like to read the back of the magazine first. I want to see the results. Ryan Stewart, somebody who's part of our mastermind, says it's impossible to stay depressed when you're helping others, and it's so true, And you talk about serving others. On the 4th of July, we had a friend of mine, Michael Stevenson, come out, who is an NLP expert. He got into it because of, something I did years ago. He bought a CD, a cassette back then. And I said, yeah, I'm really building my list. I'm doing Facebook Lives. I'm getting out there. He goes, are you servicing your list? I go, what do you mean? Are you keeping in touch with them? I go, well, yeah, I'm doing all this Facebook. He goes, that's not keeping in touch. I go, what do you mean, Michael? I thought I was doing all this right. You know how me with the computers. I'm a pencil and paper guy. And he said, you have to give value and keep in touch and constantly keep engagement with your list. How big is your list? A couple thousand, whatever. It's a small list. He says, keep engaged. And it clicked. I go, I thought I was doing something right. This is the power of CEO Space. When somebody makes one idea become reality of what I thought I was doing right. Here, I thought I was baking a cake, and I put rocks in the oven, So we hired a VA the next day, and we had this big campaign going out of, you know, how to serve and keep engaged and how to give people tips and all that. Just giving them things, absolutely just like you. How can we serve
Content.
you know, content and serving them.
That's it.
It's like, wow. When you said that, it's like, I think I just did that. I think I just did that. So we have two VAs now. One services the Facebooks and all that. And one is like, and now we're going to do funnels and blah, blah. Oh, I got to send a link.
By us doing this conversation with Mark and Yolanda, it all started because we wanted to keep engaged with our fans that are online, that are watching the shows, that constantly get stuff posted on his fan page. So I wanted to start something where it was just casual conversation. Yes, we'll give them content, but we wanted to keep it light and fun, and him doing his crazy stuff, because we need to make people laugh so they get out of their head.
Yes, laughter heals.
Yes.
I mean, most people know the story of Norman Cousins, who was dying in the hospital, and he's cancer, and he started watching, I think it was Laurel and Hardy, and started laughing and laughing and laughing, and he healed. And
oh my gosh! Yeah. We just interviewed Make-A-Wish Foundation. You know Frank Shankwich. I know you know.
Frank was a CEO Space guy.
Yeah, he was just on.
I saw that.
Yeah, he was just on.
Right.
And one thing that I don't want to, and I can't stop thinking about, is when he said, "It's the Wish kids that come up to him."
Yes.
He said the Wish kid is Make-A-Wishes. They're leaving. They're moving on, and because Frank's desire to serve those kids, their wish was granted, and it gave them such the energy of meeting somebody. It gave them the spark of life that made their mind said, destroy that disease, I have more reason to live. And he goes up, and these kids become older, and they're serving their wish kid. They would have been dead if Frank wasn't Frank and didn't go through the challenges. And you know his story. Watch Wishman go through that life of horrific abuse. He would not, that 7-year-old child started Make-A-Wish Foundation. He gave his life through accepting lupus so other children will live. And I think of that as, here's one person. Would you sacrifice your life to save millions? That kid did it. And he didn't know it.
Yeah. And again, you're speaking to the reach, the width, and the depth of CEO Space. Mm-hmm. I don't know who invited Frank, but he came. And the outcome of that was the movie Wishman.
Yeah.
And some of the funding started through CEO Space.
Yes. So not a lot of people know that.
Yeah. When you hear us say that almost everyone you know in the higher echelons of business, they've been there. They've been there. And I had a phone call from a young man this morning. He said, I'm not at your level, not my level, but at CEO Space level.
That's what I wanted to address, is people have the illusion you have to be at a certain level. Please let them realize that there is no level. It's a service.
The level is, can you breathe? I'm going to tell you two short stories. Maybe 20 some odd years ago, a young man was a third grade teacher. And when I say he couldn't spell entrepreneur, it's of course facetious. He had a dream, guys. He wanted to teach children how to play the piano using the computer as the metaphor. Now, today, your wristwatch, if you wear one, has more computing power than the spaceship 20 years ago. Nothing. He came to see us, broke, absolutely dead. I don't think dead broke. He had no money. And let's move ahead a couple of years. The product is called Piano Wizard. And if you look it up online, it started at CEO Space. He's raised over $14.5 million. Wow. Okay? Now let me tell you a lady story. By the way, we're a lady-run organization. Lady leaders come to us. And over 32 years, about half our members are ladies. So there's a young lady from Tampa, and she hated Swiffer mops. She hated Swiffer mops. Sorry, I got an alarm popping up. Just going to reach over. Okay. She hated Swiffer mops. She didn't like the ecology nor the economy. She went online trying to find an alternative. All she found were other people complaining about Swiffer mops. She said, I guess it's me. Single mom with a child running around, infant on the floor. She found the money to come to CEO Space. The product is now called Green Glider, and it's on the internet as Go Green Glider. I do not know how many millions she's raised. She's been on QVC 14 times, and she's in over 300 Walmarts.
Wow.
So, Mark, you asked the question, at what level do you have to be? You have to have passion. You have to have a dream.
Yes.
Now, Tony didn't come to us to build his business. Jack Canfield didn't come to us, although he did build this business. Sharon Lechter, who's actually the person who wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad, she released Think and Grow Rich for Women on our stage, and Outwitting the Devil Lady Leaders. That's a book you need to read. Think and Grow. You don't need to do anything, but I invite you to read Think and Grow Rich for Women. She also released Outwitting the Devil. She's on the Napoleon Hill Foundation. Don Green, who's the president of the Napoleon Hill Foundation. Napoleon Hill missed us. He was, a long time ago. But you got the president of the Napoleon Hill Foundation coming. Why? To be in service.
Yeah.
These people do not need to show up and spend a week either physically or online, just to be in service to people. And I don't want to misrepresent. Tony doesn't come back. Tony's doing his own thing, but he did come and spend the time with us. Mark, I'd like to offer your viewers, may I, some
Yes.
I'm just thinking people are going to start saying, okay, wait, you keep talking.
What? So a couple of things. How do you get started in your dream? So, ladies and gentlemen, get ready to write something down. I'm going to give you a few links to transcribe here.
Would it be okay to post this up so they can see a little tagline?
Oh, absolutely.
I wrote it on a paper. I was going to show them a piece of paper like, hey, look what I got here. You guys just write that down.
So one of the things is Let's Connect call. It's a business strategy consultation. One of the things we do is bridge the gap between where you are and where you want to be in your business. And it's giving that for free. And that address is richardkaye.com, RICHARDKAYE.com/talk. And instead of the $275 price tag, it's free. And we do this just for your listeners. And I promise you, it is not a sales call. If I sell you on that call, I want you to call Yolanda and Mark and say, hey, he tried to sell me. It will not happen. Okay. Another thing, and the URL for this is thebusiness.space/Mark. Thebusiness.space/Mark. That's $500. I talked to you about some of the people who grace our stage at CEO Space. These are 90-minute keynotes from Bob Proctor, Mark Victor Hansen. Oh, there it is. It shows up on my screen too. Thank you.
Look at that, huh? We're high.
That's cool. All right.
Why she has us around so she could teach us.
All right. That's good. 90-minute keynotes, 4.5 hours. Mark Hansen, Lisa Nichols, and Bob Proctor. And you will see, you'll know what happens there. And you'll see there's no selling. We've all been to seminars, some of them for free, some of them for thousands of dollars, where they teach, and then they pitch you anywhere from 5 to 50,000 or more. We don't do that. We're really clean on that. And there was another thing that I was giving away, and I don't remember what it was. Oh yeah, yes.
Keynote presentation.
From Lisa Nichols, Bob Proctor, and Mark Victor Hansen. That's
$500 when that gets sold. Yeah.
We didn't even talk about you doing that. You just offered that up. And we just got the email this morning. We looked at it like, is he seriously thinking about giving that away for free? And I told him, I said, you know how rich it is, and it truly is for free, because this is a time where COVID, we need to serve people. Why are we doing this? Because you know what? The more we can give out, the more we'll get back in service, not monetarily. Beyond that, something that's deeper and more fulfilling. You know how you're going to feel when somebody sends you an email and says, "Hey, thank you, I applied this, and now I got out of the situation. I was thinking about bankruptcy or just giving up on life, and because of that, thank you for that." Would you rather have $1,000 or that compliment? And that's what people don't understand. They don't get that until they've been there.
Yeah. And in these cultures, 1.3 million people first time on unemployment, and the moratorium on rent abatement, it's over, folks.
So,
and again, I say at 9/11, more people came to us. More people. Okay, you need. You got it. Okay, good. Came to us because they realized a job is not security. So one of our faculty members, a fellow named Bob Sacosta, who was there at the very beginning of home shopping, an expression you've all heard, but wait, there's more.
Yeah. But wait, there's more. Yeah.
For ladies and gentlemen who are participating in this, we're taking a $1,500 discount off the gold lifetime membership in CEO space.
Wow.
And it's a tough financial time. Even Buffett is down a couple of billion, right?
I don't know how he's making it. I hope yeah. There's always Uber.
There's always Uber, right. So we're offering you, ladies and gentlemen, a $1,500 discount when you make the decision to say, hey, what worked was good. I want more. Are you a seeker? Do you want more out of life? Do you want to transform? And by the way, when someone says, I want more business, call BS on that. That's not what you want.
That's
right. What do you want? You want to improve your bottom line. You want to make more money, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm saying just be clear in your request.
Yeah.
That's why you want more contacts, more leads, more resources, to play in a higher vibration so you can make more money, take better care of yourself.
Service people.
I'm sorry?
And you get to service people with more money.
And you get to serve, exactly. So you get to make more money, you take better care of yourself, better care of your family, and yes, you get to serve more people.
That's right.
And the more people you can serve,
I wish I know that. Yeah. I really, they hear it, but they don't listen until they experience it. When they experience it, they have growth, and then they start telling people, and then those people don't listen. They hear it, but they don't listen until they experience it. So you got it. It takes a little push, a little choo-choo up the train. I think I can. I think I can.
Well, I assert that we are hardwired to serve people. If you ever doubt that, look what happens in a catastrophe. How many people show up? How many times have we seen on television where a woman will lift a car because her child is trapped? Or you see people rushing. It's a great picture. I love that. When you see people rushing to help someone who's been injured. Now, there are some people who say, shit, that ain't me. It's okay. But the vast majority of people, we are hardwired to be in service to people, and it shows up in different ways. You guys are in service in so many ways. And now with your 100 hotels, you can do that in an hour and a half. in 112-degree temperature, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I knew the temperature was hot here. Remember, I haven't been home since 1991 in the summer. We go on tour. Our tour was booked. We were in Dubai, Philippines, India, London, back to Canada, all over the U.S. So we were gone from March, until November. And now I planted a garden. And the reason I planted a garden is to say, I can appreciate the time I'm being home, and I'm going to continue to grow. As my garden grows, so do I. And I can continue to give fruit and vegetables to myself, so I don't have nothing there.
And the
that's such a great story. That again goes back to, are we going to whine about that stuff that happened, or are we going to say, how can I show up in a more beautiful way? And thank you for that. I love that. That's awesome. How can we serve more? That's what, hey, you know what? I'm going to give you my email address also, in case people are concerned about, making a calendar link. My email is rkaye at ceospaceamerica.com. rkaye at ceospaceamerica.com.
That's right.
Hold on, that's another incoming. Sorry, there's another incoming call. Hey, I remembered to turn my ringer off this morning.
Yeah. I can't see that far. Richard, is that right? Let's put that up there.
We'll find out.
And show.
CEO Space.
That is correct.
Oh, there we go.
That's it. Yeah.
So there you have it.
Hey guys,
you have no idea how much I appreciate you being up here with us. It's not like we already have this till 2021. I know you're busy, but we have nothing to do.
I'm so glad we all decided. Well, there were maybe 10 of us at that dinner the last night on the cruise.
Yes.
And I hadn't thought of, but that's when we do get to a live CEO space. That's how bonding begins. That's not true. That's how it's amplified. And we do that through breakout rooms at CEO space. You'll be in breakout rooms, each one hosted by a subject matter expert. And we fine tune your language, your request, make connections. And ladies and gentlemen, whether you do CEO space or not, and I would invite you to explore it, the biggest mistake that people make is no follow-up. You must follow up. Follow up, follow up, follow up. There's a lot more information, and I'm looking at the clock, and you said we only had 2 hours. So,
well, it's like planting a tree, getting the fruit, and not picking it, and complaining that you're hungry.
Exactly. Yeah. And I want to release you because we are pretty much at the hour, and you've got to go pick those fruits and vegetables.
That's right.
And if we ever get to do this again, we'll play it another time.
Definitely.
And if you want to come out to a healthier climate, you guys know, but I'm in Taos, New Mexico. We're 7,200 feet. It's great ski country up here, although not this year.
Nah, not this year, is it?
Yeah.
Have we been there?
No, I want to go to Taos.
I've never been there.
I love New Mexico. I love the balloon fest. I love Taos. It's such a great. It's like Sedona, Arizona, full of energy.
You are frozen. I don't know if you can hear me.
Oh yeah, I can hear you. I'm frozen.
I guess we're done.
Oh,
no,
we're
back.
No, your screen went black. That's all.
Oh, that's funny. Okay.
No,
we're here.
We're clear.
You can still see us?
Now that you're back.
I know why he said that, because he said, we're going to come and stay at your house. And he goes, it went frozen. It went dark, went black.
And my son, who I've been living with me after his mother died, moved into his own place. So I have a spare bedroom. So,
yeah. Yes, you do. I remember you saying that.
And I'd be honored.
Definitely, when they open up the traveling, we'll definitely have to make a trip out to New Mexico for sure.
But here's what I want to caution you. They call this the land of the land of enjoyment. It's called the land of entrapment. That's how I came here. I met someone at CEO Space. He says, come out, see where I live. Bought 80 acres and said, someday I'm going to live here. And someday showed up. The land of enchantment becomes the land of entrapment. House Mountain is a very powerful energetic here. A lot of Native Americans, the Tiwa, and right now you cannot get on the res. It's a great tourist place, but you can't get on because they're susceptible to this stuff. But it is great. It's an artist community. There's no manufacturing. It's just fun, clean air, no neon lights. It'd be a culture shock for you guys.
Yes, it would be. And we live about a couple miles from the Strip. We have 2 acres. It's like we're in the middle of nowhere, yet we have the enjoyment of the country right in the middle of the city.
Yeah.
So we see the lights. We're not in them.
Good for you. Good for you. All right. Hey, thank you again. Love you both. And if we do the cruise, we'll get together.
We want people to share this video. I want people to share it and really get it out there. Take advantage of what we've never had this great of an offer on any of our conversations with Mark and Yolanda, where you're willing to do the 45 minutes just for that's $275 value. You're giving another $500 value. You're $1,500. I mean, there's so much value here. If somebody doesn't have the energy to pick up the phone or write an email or contact you, they probably are not a good fit for you because they don't have the energy to believe in themselves.
That's right.
They're probably not a good fit. If you're complaining about you don't have the opportunity, there's no more excuses now because this is it.
Yeah.
You've just opened the doors for a lot of people that have been asking, please save me, please save me. Well, here you go. Well, I'm waiting for something else. We want people to hand you something or you want to earn it.
That's right.
We're not going to hand them anything. We're going to give them an opportunity and make it real easy to carry.
And that's what life is. It's an opportunity. We come in, and I don't believe we come in to fulfill our potential. I believe we come in to exceed our potential.
That's right.
That's right.
Our
Beyond your
potential is
imagination.
energy neutral. We can go so much better than that.
Absolutely. Well,
Love you guys.
Thank
Thank
you
so much.
Stay safe.
We'll talk soon.
Right, you too.
Out of all of the people we had so far, Yolanda, is there anybody that's offered that much value just as a gift?
No. This is and from such a big.
I didn't know I was going to do that.
Well, I knew because I had read the email.
I didn't read the email. I don't like to read. I just didn't read the email. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
I knew what he was offering, and I thought it was awesome.
Wow.
I couldn't wait for him to announce it and share it with everyone.
That's
So
pretty cool.
again, share this video. If there's someone that you know that has a business that's
wants to
struggling
do a business.
or wants to start a business.
A business is an idea. Somebody that says, I've got an idea. I don't know what to do with it. This is where you take it. This is where you go. If you want a baby, then this is the seed that's going to grow this little baby into a beautiful human, into a human business. Is that a good metaphor?
I don't know.
If you want a tree full of fruit, you have a seed. The seed is the idea. Plant the seed. They will water it, nurture it, and make sure it grows.
Just do what Mark does. He planted a garden without realizing that we have wild rabbits that can have access to it, and he didn't put any blockage on it. And the next morning, the rabbit was having a feast in his garden.
Yes, that rabbit tasted
like that.
good. When I got that rabbit, he is delicious.
He had
kill the rabbit. All those vegetables inside him, which he
didn't kill the rabbit.
No, I did go buy a fence the next day. I literally spent more money fencing this thing in than if I just bought all the fruit and vegetables I could possibly eat. But I get every morning, every night, I get to nurture it. And what it reminds me of as a metaphor is I'm nurturing my life to continue to grow. Even it's 110, 115 out there. So what do you have to do? You take precautions. Okay, the company that has the business that puts the screens over top of the plants to save them from getting burnt is no longer a business. So what does that mean? Oh my God, my plants are going to die. No, you figure something else out. I went to Walmart and I bought a tablecloth that's a see-through, like a sequence, and I draped it over there and created something new. That's what CEO Space is about. You don't look at what you can't do. You find the solutions and the availabilities that are out there. They're all out there. You just have to search for them. Go, what is my intention? Is to save and protect my investment, my business, my ideas, my plants in my garden. What do I need to do? I need to cover them somehow and still let them breathe. I need to get people involved in my business, get the right contacts. The businesses that are closed now open up new businesses. What is my solution? Having the right relationships. That's what CEO Space is about.
All right, breathe. This is Mark. This is Mark on coffee. 1 cup of coffee. This is what you get.
It's just amazing, But and David Corman, you know what I love about David Corman? He likes smoking cigars too. That's what I love about him. These are relationships that you could not pay for if you search them. If you tried to raise $500,000 to pay for these relationships, you wouldn't have nearly the relationships you'd have by joining and going to CEO Space. The opportunity there is just.
Look, we had Frank here last week.
Make-A-Wish Foundation.
And
Frank.
He's been to CEO Space.
Part of it.
But
also, so many.
Frank also has the opportunity where you can, go and volunteer at Make-A-Wish Foundations all over the world because they're all over. And so you can go and volunteer and give your time back in that sense and giving back to a child or making a child wish come true by helping with getting the funding.
And you think about what that feels like.
Think of that.
Imagine you having the ability to save a child's last dream and make them a wish kid where they had enough love and strength and passion to destroy what was taking their life and make it a better life. That's CEO space. That's the people that go there. This email is up there for a reason. You get a hold of Richard and you contact, he'll give you all the other stuff too. I figured 10 minutes on him would be great. Go there, email him, utilize the time to serve yourself and other people out there by finding out what it takes to get to the next level. $500
he's giving you a business strategy consultation for free.
I'm going to sign up for it myself. I don't know if I have these things. You're going to put under a fake name. The business.space/Mark. Who is this? This is Jonathan Winters.
I'm sure you could just call him and he'll consult you.
Yeah.
You don't have to pretend you're somebody else.
I'll make your credit card is $500. So do us a favor. This is our wish to you. Please share this video. Please go and utilize the opportunity that the door is open for you right now with Richard, and take advantage of this great man that's here to serve you, and with the intention of not to take from him, but so you can serve other people. And that's what this is about. That's what Conversations Marketing Log is all about.
That's right.
Conversing with you to make a difference. And until then, check us out. Facebook Live. No, it's my Facebook.
And we might be here Sunday. I don't know yet because we might be attending the Tony Robbins virtual with some friends.
No.
I don't know if we're going to have our cooking show.
Wednesday is a huge day.
Oh, God.
I'm not going to tell you what's going to happen, but I will be transformed into another person. This will not be this. And I'm not going to tell you.
That's a little extreme. It's not going to be that. He's not having plastic surgery, just so you...
Pretty close?
No.
Pretty close. Yeah, it's pretty dramatic.
When you say you're going to transform this,
people
are going to automatically think you're getting plastic surgery.
You will not recognize this when I get done.
Okay.
This will look as pretty as this right here. You won't be able to tell us apart. You'll be able to tell us apart. You'll just think, oh my God, is that Matthew McConaughey? Is that Mark McConaughey? Is that John Stamos, Mark Music Jr.? Oh my God, say it ain't so. Yeah, you what? Wednesday, we're going live. You're going to be in the room with us live.
Yeah, for his craziness, of course. All right, well,
Share
thank you
video,
for joining
please.
us. We will see you possibly Sunday for the cooking. I'll keep you posted on that. But if not, we'll see you Monday with, we have a special guest Monday. I'll tell you later about it. It'll be fun though. So have a great weekend. We will see you later, and thank you for joining us.
Stay there, Richard. We're coming back.